I'm gonna make everybody join 1 minute before, okay?
Sorry, Ekta?
1 minute before I will
Okay,
make
okay, hi.
Okay. Ekta and Zaheda, it's live.
Yes?
We went live.
Okay, okay. Thank you, Harshit. We'll take them in the next 2 minutes.
All right, no worries. Fine.
Okay. Thank you. Ekta, should we start letting them in?
Yeah.
You can let them in. Good evening. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, everybody.
Evening, ma'am.
Good evening.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening.
Evening. We'll be waiting for 1 or 2 more minutes, expecting more participants to join us. Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening, Jaspreet, ma'am. I hope everyone's had a good day, is having a good day today.
Okay. How
So,
about the feeling check-in, Zaheda?
yes, I was just about to say that. Usually, when we wait for participants to join or when there's some more time to start, we do a feeling check in. I want all of you to tell me how you're feeling today and think of a color that represents that emotion. So, in simpler terms, I am really excited to be here because I really look forward to this session. And the color that represents excitement for me is green. So, I would like everyone to maybe use the chat box, unmute yourself, and answer. Oh, happy green.
Happy green. Wonderful.
Wow. Ekta, how about you?
Yellow and excited.
Yellow and excited. I am awaiting a few more responses.
Feel free to unmute yourself and speak or write in the chat box.
We've got curious, black and white, great, yellow, joyful, purple. Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Happy green.
Vivo V2. Yeah, ma'am, can you let us know your name so that we can rename you?
Hi everyone, I'm Bharti Khanna.
Bharti, ma'am. Let me-
Bharti, ma'am. Okay. So I can see a lot of curiosity. I can see that everyone's very happy, joyful, feeling great, excited, right? Anybody else?
Okay. So I think I'm gonna share my screen. We got one more response.
A little tired after school, Gray. Yes. Allowed. Bright pink. Okay. Alright.
Just a second. I think I'm gonna share the entire screen. Okay, so today we'll be talking about emotionally safe classrooms. And before we jump into the topic and we discuss about what exactly emotionally safe classrooms are, I would like to take 2 minutes of yours to introduce ourselves. I'm Ekta Juswani and I'm a social emotional ethical learning department head here at NGN Learning, and I'm a developmental psychologist too. I have Zaheda Jeewa with me. She is a lead child developmental psychologist. We have trained almost 5,000 teachers so far in last 2-3 years on emotionally safe classrooms, social emotional learning, in-person and online trainings as well. Currently, we are having 13,000 students with us where we are providing curriculum related to social emotional learning to schools. We believe in that social emotional learning is a scientific technique. We have been using a full-fledged curriculum and a research-based curriculum around it in the schools, and we have seen good impacts as well. And emotionally safe classrooms are actually output of what social emotional learning curriculum is, and we'll be discussing about that as well. So let's see social, emotional, ethical, and logical learning. You might be hearing a lot about social, emotional learning, emotional intelligence, and sometimes we talk about mental health as well. These kind of terminologies these days a lot. So I would like to know from all of you, what is your understanding of social emotional learning? Anyone?
Just your definition of social emotional learning. What, according to you, constitutes that? Anyone? You can use the chat box or you can unmute yourself.
There is no right or wrong. Okay, so we have got
About
one.
managing your emotions, teaching children to manage the emotions and regulate
Yes.
themselves.
Yes, ma'am. Yes. And then we have one more. When a child is empathetic and knows his
Emotional
boundaries.
boundary is so important.
Self management, anger management.
Correct.
Yes, ma'am. Yes. Self and anger management.
If we want to speak in between, do we need to write in the chat box or we can unmute and.
Yes,
You
ma'am.
can
You
unmute.
can.
Okay.
You can unmute
So
and speak.
I believe that SEL, it's like part of life skills where the child is able to adapt, first know himself or herself, adapt to a situation, and handle all difficult situations in a better way. and even provide safe space to the other people around him or her.
Yes, true, true. Wonderful.
True, ma'am.
I'm gonna share my screen.
We have two more responses. Ekta, I'll just share. Self-awareness, aware about others, as well manage emotions, emotional resilience. Shilpi ma'am has written, respecting the emotions of child and make him comfortable expressing his opinion and feelings, and in parallel learning. Yes. So I'm getting a lot of self-awareness, a lot of self-management, a lot of emotional resilience, responsible decision making, right? Yes.
So, when we talk about social, emotional, ethical, and logical learning skills, it actually makes a person empathetic, resilient, socially astute, emotionally intelligent, ethical, and logical. We'll be talking about what skill goes in and what techniques we can use to improve upon social, emotional learning skills within the classroom and school environment. And why are we talking about SEL and emotionally safe classrooms? Because they go hand in hand. If we want to make classrooms emotionally safe, we would really need to work upon social emotional learning skills of students as well as teachers. So, an emotionally safe classroom is where students feel accepted, respectful, valued, and they are free to express. There's no fear of judgment, and they do not fear punishment. However, there is exchange of knowledge. Constructive feedbacks are going on. Children, they feel excited to share their opinion and ideas to you, and that is why sometimes you'll see that some classrooms there's a lot of discussion going on, and in some classroom children they feel afraid to even speak or utter a single word, no matter how much the teacher would try to probe and ask them speak something or you need to talk about your opinions, they will not open up. Somewhere down the line there is some sort of fear or hesitation, and that's where we will be working upon SEL skills. In emotionally safe classrooms, mistakes are seen as opportunities to learn, and emotions are acknowledged. Children feel secure, supported, and connected. Anybody would like to give example of emotionally safe classroom?
Maybe what does your classroom look like, or how would you want an emotionally safe classroom to look like? We know that children are very secure, very confident. What else?
They can tell us anything without fear of judgment.
True.
Yes.
Yes. Where he's allowed to pour his heart out. Yes. Learning is fun, not forceful, where there are no right or wrong answers. Yes. No wrong answers. Great answers.
Okay. What is the role of SEL making classrooms emotionally intelligent? That is a question actually. Let me understand from all of you. Why do you think social emotional learning is important when it comes to making classrooms safer or emotionally intelligent? Okay, I'll give this question once we are done discussing all the skills that we have in social emotional learning. So, when we talk about emotional intelligence, there are basic 4 to 5 domains. However, we are having here at NGN Learning 9 of them. Keeping Indian context in mind, we have added 4 additional, and we will be touching upon each one of them gradually. We have self awareness first, which talks about knowing your emotions, understanding yourself, your strengths, your weaknesses, and at the same time, understanding your thought, feeling, actions. Self-management, managing your thought, feelings, actions by understanding them. And your all students and children, we also make them learn about managing their time, managing sometimes relationships. Everything comes under self-management. Positive childhood. Positive childhood is additional skill that we have when it comes to social emotional learning, which talks about resilience and growth mindset. Considering that Indian context, children usually have a lot of, you know, different circumstances and difficult circumstances they are coming from. We decided to introduce a skill that would work upon their resilience skill. So that's what positive childhood does. We have social awareness, which talks about empathy, perspective taking, and it also includes skills like not being biased and being inclusive in the approach. We have social communication. So while we were doing our R&D, what we found that sometimes we label children when they are not able to speak in English, that the child is lacking communication skills, or the child is not able to express him or herself better. But the idea of social emotional learning is to let them express in whatever language they are comfortable. Be Tamil, Malayali, Marathi, Hindi, they should be able to speak and talk about their emotions. And language shouldn't be a barrier in that. So social communication talks about non-verbal communication, not being judgmental when somebody is trying to express, expressing yourself using different techniques like play, like art, drawing, that way. We have relationship skills that talks about forming, maintaining, and sometimes coming out of toxic relationship cycles as well. We talk about peer pressure there. Cognitive skills help children to think critically, logically, work upon their memory. It also works upon their creativity as well. Because often you will see, have you ever heard this terminology that we call it as emotional fool? Have you heard that word, emotional fools? Anybody? Okay. Anyone who would like to talk about what does that mean? Or in what context we use this terminology that,
See, basically, can I answer this?
Yes,
Yes.
yes, ma'am.
See, when we, though it has become a generic term now, emotional fool, but when the person out of emotions gets easily manipulated, and that time he cannot differentiate between what is right and wrong, and might take impulsive decision. That time I think we can say the person emotionally.
Yeah, and that's when they are being labeled as emotional fools. And there's another one, Purva ma'am has given, who gets emotional and other takes advantage of it and they get hurt. Get
Yeah,
too
a lot of
emotionally attached. Yes.
times kids are very sensitive. They just know that if I end up doing something wrong, or if I react in a certain way, the other people will feel bad. So I think even the term emotional fool comes from that, because they're genuinely very intuitive, very sensitive, very reactive in certain situations, right?
Yeah. And see what we have seen sometimes, and especially people who are humble, they have lot of values like being kind, being generous. They love donating. They love to be among people. They like to make people happy, and they generally feel for others. Sometimes these people actually get manipulated and they get hurt. Why? Because it's not like people are going after them. It's just that we do not teach children, and we haven't learned how to be logically sound, how to critically think. So you can be emotionally intelligent, at the same time you can be logically sound as well. So teaching children about logical thinking, critically questioning things out, understanding where is this information coming from, and taking your own time to decide, understanding the context in which the situation is taking place, stimulating their mind with a lot of situation that includes dilemmas. So those skills actually help children to become cognitively smart. And that is why you'll see Sometimes when we talk about skills like value, ethics, and morals, we have been teaching these skills from last many years in our schools, especially in Indian context. NEP 2020 talked about social emotional learning as a full-fledged curriculum, that schools should be introducing it. The reason was it is more scientific, it works upon critical thinking, and there is a process to it. It is systematic. So, covering logical thinking, covering cognitive skills, and also covering problem solving skills, along with the other areas of emotional intelligence, becomes very, very crucial. So, you'll see children who sometimes lack logical and critical thinking skills, they don't know how to say no. They'll end up being bullied, or they might even get into risk taking behavior because they want to be part of one group, and they want to feel, that I belong to that particular group, I want to be with them. So in that context, we train and we teach children that, you need to have a strong boundary. Somebody talked about it, right? That social emotional learning is also about knowing your own boundaries. Okay, anybody who would like to bring light to this idea of including cognitive skills in emotional intelligence? Okay, then I'll move forward. What leads to emotional challenges within the classroom and how to work around it? So you'll see one of the major goal of any classroom and school is academic success, isn't it? We all want children to score good, perform good, and you might have seen also that sometimes, when children, they're gradually learning, they feel confident about skills when, they learn about the concepts that you're trying to teach, they perform better in the classroom, it makes them feel confident. So academic failures can actually disturb the peace of your classroom and happiness of your classroom. Covering this area and working on this area becomes very important. And how social emotional learning can help in that? We teach children self management, being resilient, being adaptive to failures, helping teachers, to know about how to work when there are failures happening in the classroom, making children motivated. You also we train teachers how to give constructive feedback that would actually make them study in the way you want and listen to you as well. So we teach them self-management, seeking support. So they reach out to you, problem-solving skills, and also creating positive experiences. That means helping them to shift their perspective. If you might have seen, children these days have become perfectionist. They want to perform, A grade in everything. They want to have A grade in everything. So making them understand about this idea of failure is very important. And examples of these can be creating positive experiences, practicing gratitude journals, setting smart goals in the classroom, promoting supportive environment, and at the same time, practicing mindfulness. These techniques sound like how they are related to academics, but they do help. You can also do your own research, don't believe me. Social emotional learning actually helps to increase 25% of your academic performance. So any school who is struggling with some sort of academic performances, or also want to improve better in grades as well, can actually introduce social emotional learning, because students self confidence, self esteem, resilience gets improved. Okay, any questions, doubts here? Then I'll move forward. Number two, we talked about emotionally safe classrooms where children can express themselves. So when they are not able to do that, it leads to a lot of problems. They won't speak, they won't share their opinions, they will keep their ideas to themselves. It will kill their creativity. And you also won't be able to know where they require help. You might be helping children out in all the possible ways, but at the end of the day, they end up making some mistakes, right? Because you were also not aware. They did not talk about it. So, teaching them self expression and social emotional communication skills. We'll be going in depth activities as well. We'll be touching upon the activities tomorrow. Right now, this is what we are covering. What can we do on a higher level? So, teaching them self expression, creating classrooms, where there is a lot of self reflection happening. Let's say there are mistakes happening in your classroom. Some group of students, they are making some mistakes. So instead of telling them what is right, ask them what do you think what is right and what should be done in this situation. By doing that, you are making them reflect. At the same time, you are not being a person who is just gonna correct them, but you are being the listener who is trying to empathize with them. Be an active listener, because often we as adults think we know everything, we know what is right, and children needs to follow us, and then we keep on talking about our own thing and give them advices. Sometimes they don't need it, sometimes it is there inside them, we need to just make them speak about it. And let's say if there is a child has done some mistake, you can ask that child that, what do you think, what happened, I'm here to listen to you, let's work it out. Giving that space. Incorporate things like painting, drawing, music to express themselves. Why? Because sometimes some children, they are not comfortable talking. It's their temperament. They like to speak less. But when you'll ask them to express themselves using music, painting, drawing, you'll be amazed that they have a lot of in-depth ideas about many things around them. So using these techniques also help. Okay. Anybody who has already tried something of the same strategies in their classroom? Anyone?
I think Ekta, just giving them that space to be is so important.
Yes, true.
Extremely important. Just allowing them to talk and share their ideas openly without having the fear of judgment or without feeling that, oh, what if my fears are not validated? Or what if I say something and if it turns out wrong and people will judge me or they will think, oh God, I'm a monster for feeling so much anger or feeling so much worry in my body, right? So it's just allowing them to just be, express and accept themselves in the process.
Yes, true. No, I agree. So I have a question for everyone. Can you tell me about your favorite teacher when you were in school? Who was your favorite teacher? Think about one of them and let us know. Zaheda, what about you?
I remember I had an amazing English teacher, and I used to thoroughly enjoy her classes because I've always been like an avid reader, so I would look forward to her session. And she was so calm and so accepting of everything that, if you need some help, Zaida, definitely I'm there for you. And she was somebody I could open up to about my family challenges or about my struggles without having that fear in my heart. I think we got one more English teacher.
English teacher, because she was an engaging